And now, Milwaukee gets the big win and the 3-2 lead. The question is, did it change anything we actually think about the Bucks? Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80, ESPN News. Jason Fitz, Monica McNutt sitting in with Keyshawn. Everybody, happy 4th of July weekend. Like, this is a...
I'm so proud of you, Fitz. I thought for sure you were rolling right into
I was going to roll right in, but you guys didn't like that yesterday.
We have to say good morning to each other.
We audible here. What? Do we have big 4th of July plans, Keyshawn?
Not really. My son got a little AAU, so we got to figure out what we're going to do with that in terms of plans. But, no, I usually been in the past in California. So it was always go over somebody's house, wait for the sun to go down a little bit, and, start to do some stuff around 4 o'clock. I don't know what's going on in New York yet, so we'll see.
I know he's not bringing a bag of ice. That's what we learned yesterday.
We're bringing bags of ice to your house. Did you open up the grill on a rooftop? Like, what do you mean you don't know what's going on?
I mean, you can come on over
it's supposed to rain. Like, what? Like, seriously?
Come on over to Coney Island, shameless self-promotion. Check out the ESPN hot dog eating contest. I'm sideline reporting that thing. Let's go. 4th of July hot dog eating contest.
How many hot dogs do you think you could eat? That contest is like the grossest, most fascinating roadkill-esque thing.
I'm telling you, last year I did it, and we were indoors, and I wasn't prepared for the sound. There's this weird, like, sound that, it'll get you. It'll get you. And the splash zone is real. Like, and that's just where, a lot of wet bun just splashing everywhere. There you go.
That's disgusting.
I thought I couldn't get
Is this the
Nathan's hot dog eating contest? There we go. On ESPN. You should check it out.
What's the guy who used to do it back in the day and win all the time?
Well, Joey Chestnut's the guy that wins right now. Morimoto. Oh, no. I'm going to the chef. I'll come with the name in a second. It's early in the morning.
So he's not, that guy isn't doing it right now.
No, Joey Chestnut's the reigning everything for all of it. So, there we go. We'll have a little hot dog. Monica, you don't look impressed by this. What are you doing for the 4th?
I'm actually going home. One of my good friends is having a cookout, and then I'm getting on a train to come back up here for next week.
So it's called a cookout, not a barbecue.
My folks, we say cookout, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's an important difference. There's an important difference.
I don't think there's a difference. There's just a regional word preference. What do you call it?
I think it's a regional deal.
What do you say?
We'd say barbecue.
What do you say?
Well, it depends. If you're actually cooking something that involves barbecue, then it's a barbecue. And if you're cooking like burgers, it's cookout. Like, there are two different things. Like,
oh, no.
If you're barbecue is an actual food group.
In the Carolinas and in Texas and all that, right?
Yeah, like
barbecue.
in the South, barbecue is barbecue. Like, it's totally different.
Like out west, it's a barbecue for us.
It's a cookout that may include barbecue. But it's a cookout for me.
That's funny because one of you is a cookout, one of you is a barbecue, and
what
depends
consists
on what's
of a cookout? Like what?
If the grill is involved, it's a cookout.
In a grill is gas
or charcoal. A grill and a food outside makes it a cookout.
Because to me, charcoal is barbecue. Cookout is grill.
And that's what I'm saying. For me, my region,
see, and then Yates in my ear talking about, nah, we had this conversation last year around the same thing.
It's definitely a West Coast thing.
It must be a West Coast thing.
Well, and I will say, when I grew up as a kid, I grew up in Vegas as a kid, and I think it was always called a barbecue when I was a kid.
I'm telling you.
But were y'all making barbecue?
Right.
Yes.
That's
so like
no.
slow pulled pork, like beef brisket, like that kind of barbecue, or just barbecue sauce on some chicken on the charcoal grill?
Do I look like the type of dude that would break out a package and just throw it on the grill?
Hold on. I'm not. That did not mean that to be disrespectful.
No, but you do look like the type of dude that would pay somebody to break out and put it on the grill.
We are legitimately working through this.
No, man, I get down. I sit there and
prep.
prep.
You missed this.
No, 100%. I get down every single night.
Which is why it is an absolute travesty that we're not bringing ice so that he can get down on the rooftop on his barbecue.
All right, well, I'll be at Coney Island, so just shoot me the address and I'll just swing on by after I watch a bunch of people gorge on hot dogs.
We'll figure out over time the difference between a barbecue and
we just figured
the
it out.
food. It's the food that's being cooked.
No, it's not. It's a regional word preference.
I think it's a regional word preference.
Yeah.
And how you cook the food. How did the Bucks cook what they needed to cook?
Oh, look at you. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, presented by Progressive Insurance. All of our guests join us on the Goodyear Hotline. We're going to get into a lot this morning with name, image, likeness. Keyshawn's got some hot football takes, but we start with some Straight Talk brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless that comes from what we saw last night. Now, yesterday as we left air, one of us smartly predicted that the Bucks would win the game, and feeling
way to go out on a limb.
I mean, one of us was right, two of us were not. So I'm going to gloat a little bit. The question is,
I don't remember this, but go ahead.
I mean, we asked yesterday like who's going to win the game.
We said game or series.
Game, I think it was.
A bit of both. We did a bit of both.
Right,
It's a 4-hour show, Monica. I don't remember all of it.
The Bucks cannot win this series if Giannis doesn't come back. That's
That is absolutely not true. But I will say this: it gets a lot easier if they get Trae Young back. We all know that. That's something Stephen A. Smith, First Take host, said on SportsCenter at night last night.
You got to hope and pray that Trae Young's going to come back because he's a difference maker. His long-range sniper ability, his cat quickness, his ability to get into the lane, and more importantly, to draw fouls and to put your bigs in compromising situations defensively. That's something that we can't simply minimize. You're going to need Trae Young back. Hopefully, he'll be able to come back.
Your plan can't be, we just got to get Trae Young back. That's something that's a variable. My question is, when we saw the Bucks go in last night with a level of fire and a level of tenacity that we had expected in the game before, we saw the Bucks come in and really attack the paint. They were absolutely treacherous in that area. And then we saw Holiday and Middleton have big games. Yesterday, as we were talking about the Bucks and the failings without Giannis, there were a lot of questions about Coach Bud's ability to adjust and Holiday and Middleton's ability to step up. Did y'all change your mind last night?
I wouldn't necessarily say change my mind. I looked at Game 4, much like probably the Bucks did, and they made the necessary adjustment and said to themselves, we started off shooting threes, and Giannis didn't pound the paint like we did before. Let's go back to what we can know we have our strength, and our strength is making sure Brook Lopez goes down low and pound the paint instead of shooting threes. He had 33 points. He was 14 of 16 from the field. When you look at that and you do that, that's how you win games. When you're out there shooting threes, when you're 8 feet tall, that's not how you win games. I understand that's the modern day way to go in the NBA, but when you have a dominant player inside the paint, you take advantage of that situation, and they didn't do it in Game 4. That's why Atlanta was able to even it, and once they got home, they made that adjustment on a 48-hour period. They did. You have to give your credit due to the coaching staff of the Milwaukee Bucks and say whatever the game plan was in 4, they didn't do in 5. I mean, they did in 5 that they didn't do in 4. That's simple.
Were you a You're not a participation trophy guy. You know the saying when your folks, I don't know about y'all, but my folks, I'm not applauding you for what you're supposed to do. That's where I'm at with this. Because to me, focus would have been taking care of business in Game 4. Yesterday, they're at home. Drew Holiday is 25 and 13. And also, I do think we need to pump our brakes a little bit on bashing Lopez because a stretch 5 is a thing in this league. But anyway, he was very efficient in the paint. But to me, this is why this Bucks squad was put together. Now, minus Giannis, you're seeing the same infusion and galvanizing around their missing guy. Plus, they were at home. This entire game, for as well as they played, the Hawks were never completely out of it once they closed that first quarter gap.
I mean, but this is a game where they came out to a 20-point lead. It did get down to single digits in the second half, but they withstood that punch, and then they turned around and still won by a comfortable margin. I mean, at what point do we look at that and say, hey, like, because yesterday it was, well, Gallinari can shoot, and they may not have an answer for that. Well, he still got his, and the Bucks had an answer for that.
And say, hey, what? You did what you're supposed to do?
You did.
I mean, but that's a lose-lose situation.
It's not well, that's what happens when you're supposed to be one of 5 teams that was legit supposed to contend for a title this year. I'm having a hard time giving this Bucks team unreasonable amounts of praise because the standard is high. And maybe that's unfair, but tough cookies. I'm sorry. Yesterday to me, Drew Holiday played excellent. Lopez played excellent. But this is a squad that if we were to look at on paper, I don't think anybody would say they are not as talented as the Atlanta Hawks. The reason that I'm in on the Atlanta Hawks is what their body of work over the course of this playoff run in terms of how they responded.
The way that they continue to excel. When you look at the 30 points, think about it. The 30 points that was essentially taken away from them when Giannis was gone, Brook Lopez gave it to him.
Yeah, well,
Brook Lopez gave it to him.
Okay, so I love trash TV, and there's a show called Summer House that's on.
I know that show.
I love Summer House, and there's a girl on that.
I don't watch it, but I know
the
it.
entire time she's like, "I need you to be more loving to her boyfriend. I need you to be more loving. I need you to show me more." So he sets up this massive date, and he goes all out, and he puts like candles all over the lawn to spell "I love you," and he makes her dinner, and he does all of this for her birthday, and she turns around and she says, I'm not going to give you credit for doing what you're supposed to do. It's a lose-lose situation. I'm going to give the Bucks credit for what they did last night. That's some straight talk wireless, no contracts, no compromise. We're going to keep arguing about the Bucks and how much what the standard is.
Show, if you notice, there's no arguments on the show. It's conversation.
I'm going to keep
having a conversation,
passionately debating, and
we don't
disagreeing.
We don't debate. We have a conversation.
Hey,
I'm going to do whatever the heck I want because I'm the quarterback.
Hey, listen, I'm just not going to give you credit for what you're supposed to do.
Oh, my God.
That's all.
I don't. Straight talk, wireless, no contract, no compromise. Good Lord. We'll get back to it in a bit, but one team was fined $10 million yesterday. Some are saying it wasn't enough. We'll tell you about it next. But Key first has this from right?